Hello and welcome to Just One More Watch, and welcome to another instalment of what I am now calling Chronograph July. Yeah, alright. If you can come up with something better than that, then you're welcome to. When I made the top 10 chronographs under $500 video at the beginning of the month, I said that I had found a deal that was so good on one of the 10 watches that I couldn't resist it, so I bought it. It's a Swiss-made big brand chronograph by none other than Hamilton, and I paid less than $300 for it, plus a little bit of shipping, of course. Now, it actually arrived last week, but I've been waiting patiently, resisting the temptation to get into the box so we could peel the stickers off together today. Exactly how much Swiss-made chronograph do you get then for $300? Let's flip the camera and find out. All right then, what's in the box? Well, we do rather know what's in the box, but just how good a deal was this? As you know, I bought this Hamilton H76722-531 khaki aviation for $320 US. That's just under 500 Australian dollars landed. Now, the watch looks to be discontinued, however, the original RRP was 1,450 Australian dollars. There are a bunch available on Chrono24, all of them for more than 1,200 Aussie dollars. I found one on eBay for just under 950 new, and one from a dealer in Japan, which comes in at just under 900 new. So this one was just over a third of the RRP and half the price of anything else. Why so cheap? Well, as for a grey market retailer, you don't get full retail packaging, you do just get it in this little travel pouch, but this is not the first time I bought a Hamilton from them. It's not a massive problem. You do get a full warranty with it though. Warranty card a little bit sparse, but hey, at least you get one. And there she is, a Hamilton chronograph for under $300. And it looks like we have got one particularly juicy dial protective sticker to peel together today. Always the most satisfying kind. Oh, lovely. You know, I guess when you get a watch for the kind of price discount that I got this one for, you inevitably are a little bit warmer to it, a little bit more open to it. And yeah, this is quite a bit nicer than I had anticipated it would be. Perhaps I should have taken the RRP of 1,450 Australian dollars as my guide rather than the $500 that I paid. Reminds me, perhaps unsurprisingly, an awful lot of the Hamilton Interstellar, another watch from their khaki aviation range, and another twist on a Type B Flieger. You can see clear similarities between both watches. The Interstellar, though, a little bit more dressy. This one, decidedly more retro. Let's do dimensions then. Now, it is a kind of traditional Flieger style size as well here, 44mm diameter case. Because the movement is quartz though, nice and slim to offset that a little bit at 11.3. Fairly long lug to lug at 50.5, 22 mils between the lugs. As supplied on this leather strap, it weighs in still at under 100, it's 96 grams. Flat sapphire crystal covering the dial with no anti-reflective undercoating whatsoever. 100 meters of water resistance though, with the aid of a screw down crown, which I wasn't necessarily expecting. Now, the movement. On the official listing for this watch, they just refer to it as quartz, but I did a bit of digging. It's an ETA, of course, it had to be. It's an ETA 251.274.CF. Now, having just bought this watch myself, I'm sure you'll forgive me if I preserve the integrity of that caseback just a little bit longer by not unscrewing it. I will take that sticker off for our mutual enjoyment, but I don't need to take the case back off to show you the movement because I found it online. Now, if you look at the Hamilton website, they make a claim for this movement that it is accurate to within 60 seconds a year. In fact, they make a kind of general claim, false claim, that all quartz movements are accurate to within 60 seconds a year, which they're not, but this one is. It's not a bad looking unit either, is it? 22 joules on this one, those 3 registers, and date complication as you can see there. But it's actually this second little spec sheet that I find more interesting. 72 months potential battery lifetime, they call it. That is 6 years between battery changes, and crucially, the word Preci drive, which is ETA's internal derivation for a movement that's accurate to within plus or minus 10 seconds a year. I know some people love to hate on Quartz, but it's difficult to hate numbers like those, isn't it? One thing I'm not all that enamored by, though, is the fact that it is a single ticker chrono. I guess I'm used to those Seiko Mecha Quartz ones, which are not as technically capable as this in terms of battery life or accuracy, but you do get those 5 ticks rather than the single tick. So it's a central chrono hand date complication wedged between the 20 and 25, i.e. the 4 and the 5. Small seconds indicator down there at the 6 o'clock register. It is a 30-minute chrono timer, but that's another interesting little register up there at the 2 o'clock. It is a tenth of a second, so 30-minute, but down to tenths of a second. Again, hard to argue with those statistics on a watch at this price point. And it's hard to argue with case finishing like that at this price point as well. Pretty simple, but very, very nicely done. And there's a fair mixture of brush and polish. There's not too much of one and not enough of the other. Gives it a bit of visual interest, but doesn't make it an out-and-out dressy piece. It still retains its Thule character. The chrono pushers have got plenty of grip on them, not that they really need it because they don't screw down, and it is a branded Hamilton crown between those two little crown guards. Now, one thing I did point out in the top 10 video, because I did a bit of research on this one before I bought it, I found as many photographs of it as I could. This kind of branding, the Hamilton logo with the wings branded on the strap, some people are going to lap that up. I'm not one of those people, and I've never been a massive fan of what they do with this kind of, again, it's the Hamilton H, it's all about the branding, giving you that kind of double tang and the double holes in the strap either. Yeah, okay, all that means is if you do swap it out for something else, which I may well do if I hang on to this one, you can't transfer the hardware, which is always, yeah, it's always nice to do that if you can do that. No quick release spring bars either, but yeah. Apart from that, it's well made at least, I'll give it that much. Alright, dial in hands, I'm going to switch to the macro lens in just a second here, because when you switch to the macro lens and look at this dial in handset, I'm not saying it fully justifies the RRP, but yeah, it's getting closer anyway. It's all very, very nicely done indeed. When I move this one around, you can see, I'm sure, that pronounced vertical brushing. It looks rich, it looks really, really lush. Now, everything's just printed on, the Arabics are printed on, the logo's printed on, but have a look at the markers beyond them, the batons and the triangle at 12. They're actually recessed and lume filled, as you'll see in just a second. It's not a sandwich dial, but it's a very interesting effect nonetheless. The 3 sub-registers are slightly recessed, they lack that metallic vertical brushing of the main dial surface, but they do have those lovely little concentric circles, and again, all very nicely done. As is the date complication down at the 430. Look, if you're gonna squeeze a date complication at the 430, then at least give it a beveled frame and at least give it a colour match date wheel, and Hamilton have done both of those things. Even if the colour of the numeral doesn't quite match the colour of the rest of the numerals on the dial. And the handset, again, very similar to the ones on the Interstellar, classic Flieger style swords, but with that unusual skeletonization pattern. The tip of the hour hand is skeletonized, but the base of the minute hand is skeletonized. All 3 central hands and all of the rest of the markings on the dial are all 14'd. As I said, this one has a distinctly retro flavour to it. And I'm guessing that the small seconds sub-register at the 6 o'clock has that kind of double-sided hand to mimic the look of a cockpit dial in a plane. Again, another nice touch. Overall, I'm not quite sure it's worth $1,450, but it's certainly worth the $500 that I paid. And it definitely has some wrist presence, does it not? It's a fairly chunky watch at 44. It's all dial as well, thanks to the fairly slim bezel. The strap, the tonal strap, I guess, gives an added bit of punch to it, and the high polished bezel, high polished chamfers to those lugs, again, just catching the eye. I wish big brands would spend a little bit more money on AR undercoating though. There really is no excuse for that, certainly at the price that they were hoping to charge for this one. The strap though, That's going to take some getting used to in every sense of the word. Very, very stiff. It's thick. Like I said, it's very nicely made, but yeah, that will need quite a lot of breaking in. Good overhead legibility though, thanks to the big dial and the big handset, just as long as the sun doesn't get in the way. Segueing neatly into the moans and niggles section as always. I've got 3.5 today. You already know what the 3 are, I'm sure. Single tick chronographs, never quite as visually appealing as a multi-tick chronograph. On a Flieger style watch with a big piece of glass like that, it needed anti-reflective undercoating and it didn't get it. And I'm not sure if I could live with this strap long term. I reckon this one is for those people who wear those giant belt buckles with eagles on them or something. Not really for me. And the half complaint today is regarding the loom. 14-odd indices, 14-odd hands, and a printed dial only. Even with those recesses for the hour markers mean the loom isn't amazing. It's okay on the hands, but if I turn the speed up on you, you can see that the dial markers are gone long before the end of the test. The hands, though, do still hang on, which is why it's only a half complaint. But overall, I cannot complain too much. What a cracking watch for the money. You gotta pat yourself on the back. Anytime you can pick up a Hamilton, a Swiss-made Hamilton watch for less than $300 US, it just proves once again, folks, the deals are out there if you're prepared to dig for them. So there you have it, well done for making it all the way to the end of the video. If we're talking about cracking deals today, here are 2 of the best that I've found this year for you to watch next. Thanks for watching this one, I'll see you again in one of those.